G'day and welcome back to Wimbledon. It's Friday before the championships start. There's a real buzz in the air today, mainly because the draw came out. So once again, I'm staying just a stone's throw, a couple hundred yards away from Wimbledon, from centre court right there. And this morning, got up early again. I mean, the sun comes up over here at 4:30 in the morning. You wake up and it's like, oh, it's got to be 7:30. It's 4:30. So I guess jet lag's still kicking in a little bit. So up around 6:30, go for a run around the Commons. Gorgeous. People are playing golf out there. There's a lovely little course. Rabbits going everywhere, birds going everywhere. Lots of fun. Gets the day started on a good foot. Came back, nice breakfast, little NutriBullet, all good, and then down for the draw. And it's in the main interview room, and it's it's very official, and they're pulling these numbers out of a bag that correspond to the players, and it was a very interesting draw for both men and women. There's a lot of big names that are going to have to clash early. So let's start with that. I've got make sure you guys are following on Twitter as well. I'm putting information out and pictures out and the draw out. That's when things happen live. That's what I kind of go to first. Uploading a bunch of pictures to the Facebook account, which is Brain Game Tennis, and at Brain Game Tennis for the Twitter account. So let's go through the top half of the draw. You've got Djokovic leading the way. He's got an unbelievably tough first round in Kohlschreiber. Philip Kohlschreiber is, he's an excellent player. He should be a seeded player. It's a very tough first round. It'll be a big test. Kohlschreiber's got an excellent backhand. Djokovic loves to go backhand to backhand. That's going to be pretty much negated. Kohlschreiber's got a very good serve. Surprisingly, he's always up pretty high with serve speed at the tournaments. I always see him leading, somewhere in the top 10, top 15 in serve speed. So he can pop a ball. He's not scared. He's beaten John Isner 3 years in a row in the third round of the US Open. He's a big, he's got a big game. I did see him. I believe he must have lost to Djokovic at the US Open last year. I'm pretty sure I watched that match. But it's it's a tough one. It's about as tough as you can get for the first round. In the winner of that will play Hewitt's in that next match. And this is Leighton's last hurrah here. Off the top of my head, I don't remember who he plays first round, but I think it was very winnable. And then the winner of that goes in to play Djokovic. So, Hewitt historically has had unbelievably tough draws. He just gets high seeds now that he's fallen out of being a seed. So, he's got one round that's a good draw, and then Djokovic, the number one seed, probably getting through that. And then it's Bernard Tomic. Tomic has done so well here. I watched him play a few years ago when he made the quarters. He's got a great grass court game. He redirects well. He's got a good serve. He returns well. He defends extremely well out wide with a backhand. So, he's already got a proven pedigree here at Wimbledon. He can do extremely well. Kevin Anderson, I watched him practice today against Rafael Nadal. He got the better of that practice. He was serving big. Rafa was very defensive, trying to just manage to get the ball back in play. Kevin was big serve, big shot after the serve. Kevin looked very good today. He's got one of his, I think his best ranking is somewhere, 12 or 13, 14 in the world, somewhere like that now. So Kevin's going to be tough here. Marin Cilic is in the top part. John Isner. Look at those big guns, big servers there. Kai Nishikori, Stan Wawrinka, Dominic Thiem, Dimitrov, who made semis last year, Nick Kyrgios. He can go quarters again, and Raonic. That's, there's going to be carnage in that top half. A lot of other good players, but those really stand out. It's like, Djokovic is not going to have his own way there. He's going to have to play very well to get through that. You look at the bottom half, I think that's a little softer. It's full of seeds that aren't grass court specialists, and they're not, historically have done well at Wimbledon. So, you got Ferrer, Fognini, Troicki, and then Nadal, who's certainly been struggling. He's not, this week he hasn't shown great form in practice, hasn't done so well on the practice court. Still trying to regain, what he once was here at the championships. And it's going to be very, very interesting. So many people are going to be looking at him and his body language. I mean, his body language, I tape a lot of his matches. I dart fish a lot of his matches. I watch them twice, and just the body language, his demeanor, how he walks around the court. It doesn't have that same swagger. It doesn't have that same confidence that we're used to seeing from him. So, I don't see that it's fully back either. And he's going to have to be, just playing out of his mind to go deep in this tournament at the moment. Then you get into Tsonga, who certainly can do well here. Big game, can play big. Can he sustain it? Can he sustain it for 2 weeks at the moment? Not exactly sure. Andy Murray is the first big one there. He is, a lot of people talking about him as being a real threat to win it. I agree with that. I watched him practice today. He was practicing with Grigor Dimitrov, who beat him here last year. It's a different Andy Murray this year, way different Andy Murray, and probably a different Dimitrov. He doesn't come in with the same confidence, whereas Andy is just exuding confidence on the court. He looks strong again. He's moving well. He's just pounding the ball. So that's a tough one. Berdych, who I watched today, practice against Federer. He looks good. And then, kind of a couple of floaters. You got Monfils, who you never really know. Simon, maybe not on grass. Lopez, certainly could on grass, but hasn't proven that he can go deep in a slam. Jack Sock and then Federer. So, obviously you got Roger, you got Berdych, and you got Murray as three that stand out in the bottom half, whereas, Djokovic, Tomic, Anderson, Silic, Isner, Nishikori, Wawrinka, Dimitrov, Kyrgios, Raonic. That top half is so much heavier than the bottom half with the big name players. Certainly expect somebody to come through. Qualifiers typically do so well here because of playing on grass. The grass looks richer, it looks greener, it looks fresh but not slippery at all. It looks in absolutely magnificent conditions. So you don't see the players kind of just testing it or sliding a little bit. It really looks good early on. Neil Stubley is the head groundsman here, and Grant Canton is, I believe, the assistant groundsman. They're two very good friends of mine. I caught up with them today. We had a great catch up about the courts and what's going on and all the improvements. And one of the first things we all said is like, hey, 9 o'clock every day we meet on center court. We have a coffee and we just chat. And I can't, it's going to be the highlight of the day, catching up with those guys and just sitting on center court and just talking about and looking at the court and talking about what's happening and how the practice court's wearing and little things that are going on. I mean, Wimbledon's always improving and doing new things. And this year at the Orangi Pavilion is, I haven't been in there yet. I walked by it yesterday. It looks great. So, after that happened, after the draw and the ladies' draw, one thing that stood out was Maria Sharapova having to play Serena Williams fairly early. I don't exactly remember. It's probably quarters, maybe semis, but probably quarters. Certainly on the same half of the draw, which is going to be a tough one. So I didn't get as in-depth today. I'd like to have a look at that tonight and talk a little bit more about that tomorrow. So practice comes. I'm standing there with Grant. He's like, hey, Roger's practicing down on court 5. You want to come down? I'm like, terrific. So we go down. Roger's late. He's or maybe he's not late. Maybe the other guys are early. But Thomas Berdych is there, and Stefan Edberg's. He's like, yeah, I'll go out and hit. So Stefan's out there, and you can just tell. I mean, this guy's won this tournament. He's so good here. You get the feeling if he just goes, yeah, give me a wild card, I'll make quarters. He's still got it. He looks so good. So Berdych is warming up with Edberg, and Stefan, the backhand. It's just, it starts so high and it's so raking and beautiful and elegant, and the forehand, the grip's a little funky, and he's moving the racket over it, but he just looks so good out there. And he's just, for 5 minutes, maybe longer before I get there, but for at least 5 minutes, just pounding the ball up and down the middle of the court with Thomas Berdych. And then Roger arrives, and you can kind of tell that Stefan doesn't really want to give the court up. He's like, a couple more minutes, Roger, go tie your shoelaces. I got this covered. But it was interesting when they came over. And then Roger just starts so easy, so loose, so fluid, so languid. I think that's the right word there, but he looks so good out there, and warms up and just relaxed and calm and centered and balanced and energy from the legs. and took a bunch of photos, put them on Twitter, which was fun. So I watched those guys for a while, and on the next court over, as these guys are hitting, you've got Serena hitting with Venus, who those two will have to play very early, maybe round of 16, maybe even before that. And then over the next court over is Rafael Nadal hitting with Kevin Anderson. So we walked through, Grant and I went back, got some sunscreen. The sun was out, it was really nice. And then we watched a little bit of Raonic warming up with David Goffin. Raonic is just firing cannons. Talked a little bit with Ivan Ljubicic, great guy, great tennis mind. At one of these tournaments, I really think Raonic is going to make a semi, make a final, and this certainly could be it. He looked good out there. David Goffin looked good, and Grant said that he's been practicing well. He's seen him hit it for a couple of days. Then went up kind of on the top of court 3, looked down on Rafa, looked down on Tony, unique view, kind of looking straight down on these guys practicing and looking out over the courts. It was magnificent. It was so good. Watched a little bit, I think I mentioned it, of Andy Murray and Grigor Dimitrov warming up. And then after a while came back to the house, and then Andy and I went down to the Wimbledon club, which is right over the road. Andy's a member down there, and we played tennis for about an hour and a half. Grass court tennis, just magnificent. I grew up on grass courts in Australia. Feels so good to be back on grass practicing and hitting and having fun. And then we went and did a little weights afterwards, and just helps your energy more than anything. You've got to exercise at these events because they're so long, they're so demanding. Mentally it's going to be draining. So I went for a run in the morning, played a little tennis in the afternoon, and those kind of things are very important to take care of yourself because you're just giving all day long with everything that we're doing. So I really look forward to tomorrow. It's when I really start putting things together for Live at Wimbledon. Please follow Live at Wimbledon. Just go to the website, and Matt Wilander and Annabelle Croft are hosting that. My specialty in that area is doing strategy. The first time they've done it. So I'll be kind of on set with them at times. I'll be putting together previews of matches, reviews of matches, and things that are happening. And one of the things I'm hoping to do is interview coaches and interview players and have some points in front of them. Say, have a look at these 5 points. I thought you played well. Walk us through it, and then certainly here's 5 points that you lost, and here's some ideas that I think maybe you went down the line too early, maybe you changed directions too early. What do you think? Kind of getting inside the player's mind for that. So again, wonderful day. Had a great time. Early to bed tonight, and then tomorrow's Saturday. Lots of practice. One of the practices I'm going to see early on will be Leighton Hewitt with Andy Murray. I think around 10:30 in the morning, those guys will get together, and then see what else comes along. So, it's Saturday. The last 2 days, the energy amps up. The players are, they don't get much time on the main courts. Maybe half an hour to an hour on the main courts. Rangi, they'll probably get a little more, but it's it's go time. You've got to. For a lot of players, the tournament's really starting now. If they're focused and if they're hitting well and if they're feeling good, that energy and confidence will carry over into the tournament for them. So, they're eating well, they're taking care of everything, they're getting, the physio work that they need to get done, and hydrating, even a couple of days out for it, the forecast next week is like 33 Celsius, and it's probably up in the 90s. So, for the courts, they've probably got to put more water on the courts. But in that hot weather, it's going to take its toll in 5 sets here. Because, on grass, you think the points are short, which they are, but when you come into the net, you're down low. You're bending your knees, your quads and your hamstrings and your calves. They're all getting a much greater workout point to point here at Wimbledon than other tournaments. Maybe not the longevity that happens on clay, or the hard pounding that happens on hard courts, but you're low, you're much lower, the ball's lower, and the legs really feel it because you're not used to being down there like that for so long. So that's the day, that's our wrap. Thanks for staying with me through to the end of this one, and I hope to do this here at the house I'm staying at, and also down on court as well at the championship. So